Peter was a wealthy entrepreneur who had sacrificed his true love and happiness in pursuit of success and material possessions. However, everything changed when he met a homeless orphan in one of his homes. Peter was a successful 62-year-old entrepreneur who had dedicated much of his life to accumulating wealth. He had never married or had children and had always prioritized his work above all else. As a child, Peter showed exceptional intelligence, and by the age of 18, he had already established his first company. In order to focus on his business full-time, he even dropped out of college after his first year. One day, Peter went to visit one of his abandoned properties, a place that held special meaning for him as it had been inherited from his grandmother. He owned multiple properties throughout the city, but this one held a special place in his heart. By the time he inherited the house, he was already rich and never felt the need to visit there, let alone live in it. However, he was planning on selling the house, so he had to check what repairs were needed before it went on the market. The truth was, he was still a bit reluctant to sell it, so he figured he'd spend a little time there to help him make the decision. Peter and his grandmother were close, so he also went some time to reminisce on his precious moments there. As he entered the house, he noticed it was far worse than he had left it. The ceilings had been severely damaged by mold, and you could whiff the dampness from the very second you stepped through the front door. It was a mess. As he walked around the house, he remembered the various Christmases and family gatherings he had spent there with his family. Unlike Peter, his grandmother had always been about family and was one of the biggest reasons their family managed to survive all their hardships over the years. She had a way of uniting people and bringing light out of dark circumstances. As he stepped into her old bedroom, he noticed something that caught him by surprise. On her bed, he found an old tattered wedding dress. As he thoroughly examined it, he suddenly heard a soft voice from the room next door. "Who's there?" the voice said. Peter stepped into the corridor to find a pregnant young woman, Angie, looking up at him in dread as she held a baseball bat ready to strike. The young woman appeared homeless. Her clothes were old, dirty, and worn out. "This is my house. What are you going here?" Peter asked. "Oh, I'm sorry," the young girl said, dropping the bat, feeling ashamed. She then suddenly fell to the floor, weeping. "I'm so sorry, sir. I just needed a place to sleep. I thought this house was abandoned," Angie said.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
"It's okay. I don't live here. It was my grandmother's place. Is that your wedding dress in her room?" Peter asked, helping her up. "Yes, it was my mother's," Angie explained. "All right, I think there should still be some coffee around here. How about we share a cup? Then you can explain why you were about to beat me with a baseball bat in my own home," Peter said with a comforting chuckle. "Okay," Angie replied, joining Peter in a momentary soft laughter at the irony of their situation. As Peter and Angie sat in the kitchen drinking coffee, Angie shared the difficult events that had recently occurred in her life. As an orphan, Angie had few possessions, and the dress was the only item of value she owned. She was supposed to wear it at her wedding a month prior, but everything changed when her wealthy fiance abandoned her upon learning of her pregnancy. He had been unfaithful and decided to move in with the other woman instead, leaving Angie with nothing and canceling the wedding at the last minute. He even kicked Angie out of their home. As tough as things have been for me lately, I still believe there's light in the darkness. As Angie told Peter all this, Peter began to weep. "I'm sorry, sir. Did I say something wrong?" a confused Angie asked. No, it's just that you remind me so much of my ex-fiancé. I was also a fool like your ex-boyfriend. I left the love of my life when I started making a lot of money. I don't know, I guess I felt like life had only just begun, you know? That I would lose my freedom," Peter said, ashamed. "Did you know she was the love of your life at the time?" Angie asked, grabbing his hand for comfort. "Nope. By the time I realized it was too late. After that, I never found true happiness. My relationships after her never really worked out, and I've never seen her since. It still breaks my heart to this day," a dejected Peter confessed. "Don't worry. I know I'm probably not the right person to give you this advice, but you can always find happiness. As tough as things have been for me lately, I still believe there's light in the darkness," Angie said, hugging Peter. That night, Peter invited Angie to stay in one of his lofts in the city. Peter decided against selling the house and decided he would renovate it. After a couple of months, the place looked brand new. In order to help Angie get back on track, Peter offered her a job at one of his companies. Angie enjoyed her work and even developed a romantic interest in one of Peter's employees. Coincidentally, around the same time that Angie gave birth to a handsome baby boy and named him Peter, Peter finished renovating the house. He viewed this as serendipitous timing, as he had always planned to give Angie the house once the renovations were complete. Angie was thrilled when Peter gave her a new house as a gift. Peter, on the other hand, was simply happy to have found joy in his life through Angie and their son, little Peter. Years later, Angie married a kind man who happened to be one of Peter's employees, and Peter was honored to walk her down the aisle.